this is the Deputation, and I'm here to give you a layout update. I have not done one of these in a very long time, and that is just because I try to do a lot of things. When I try to update, I try to do it like all at once, because I don't want to do. I wouldn't make a layout update like this just for small things. I want, usually like one big update, so that I can just do this like every 3 to 4 months. But I got a lot of stuff to report on, so the camera is going to be moving around, but I'm not going to be moving it myself. I'll be cutting out those parts so it'll be all nicely put together. Sorry I had to move that. Alright, so today I went to the Roundhouse and bought 2 new Atherton Chesapeake and Ohio heavyweight coaches. And in front of them is my already owned Roundhouse Chesapeake and Ohio 260 number 425. I know the orange and the red kind of is weird with the blue and the yellow on the coaches, but I think it looks pretty cool. And so it'll be a good consist. I'll start building that as funds allow. So that was a really good buy from today. And I have not shown much video or anything of number 7 on this channel, but this is a 50s. Yeah. This is a 1950s all metal Varney Little Joe, and it went through a series of owners to get to here. It originally came out of the collection of my friend Sean, who owns a ton of these things, well over 30 of them, in multiple stages of repair, restoration, and storage. And he gave this to my friend Matt, and my friend Matt sent it to me for a rebuild. But during the time of its shipment, I helped him get a Rerouting FEF 484, the Union Pacific, of course. And so, in turn for being grateful that I helped him get it, he just gave it. He pretty much donated it to me for free. And that was very nice. And as soon the day it arrived, it underwent like a 3-day, pretty extensive rebuild. It wasn't finished in 3 days, but most of the major parts were. And as of recently, I've been adding the lettering to it. I have a label maker, and I'm able to print out decals of all shapes and sizes, but for right now, only in black lettering, and with either a see-through background or a white background. I chose the see-through because it makes it look real. So that I've been doing on. That's why I have to report on it. I'm going to be bringing it closer. Hang on, let me zoom out. Oh man, I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't get this thing to work. You can't even see the lettering. Alright, hang on, let me redo this. There we go. See, I've been it's part of my Seaward Locomotive Works fleet, and there's a big update coming with that along in this video. And because I wanted it to be my private steam shop goat. That's why it's orange, because orange is my favorite color. And got an extensive frame rebuild. And it was a ton of work. The drive wheels and the rods were all cleaned. Motor wire, we repaired one of the lead motor wire that goes to the contact plate with a new soldered joint. And let's see, I had to straighten the cover plate, the gear cover plate right here, and also had to. I couldn't figure this out because when I first put it back together with the motor and everything, it would run in reverse, but then it would just slip, and going forward it wouldn't run. It would do about 1 rotation and slip, and then the motor would keep going. And then I realized that even by like a couple millimeters, this thing was dropping too low. They wouldn't be able to get a good connection. So I tried multiple things on the cover plate, but it wasn't doing anything. So then I took off the cover plate, and underneath where this screw is right here, I took it to the bench grinder and flattened that out perfectly. Because you see, the reason it wasn't getting the reason it was kind of slipping and sagging down was because what I thought was the cover plate kind of like just ever so barely kind of like looped, or had like a little lip in it, a little arch, and that's what was causing it. And I thought it was the cover plate. Then I took the frame to the bench grinder and flattened this all underneath the screw and underneath the cover plate. I flattened all that out, and once the cover plate was straightened again, I put it all back on, and then it worked. So it took a lot of frame work to get it where it's at, and the steps were another pretty impressive thing that I did, because it had one step intact on the front and one on the back. So I took the intact step on the back and put it on the front one, and I made the back steps myself. But I actually made this arm bracket right here on the right side, this right arm bracket that holds the step. I made that from an old Bachmann pilot beam. Actually from it was from an old step beam. It was one of the brackets, and I shortened it. I mean, it was such an intricate little process to try to do that and get it perfectly, but I finally did, and I actually made the step bracket so that step could hold on. And then I took that pilot beam that I had from it was a spare from the old 440, and I cut it and made 2 rear steps. They are orange and they need to be repainted because I've had to remove them and reinstall them many times. But I made those steps, and it's been a real fun project. And the lettering makes it look really good. I just finished this today. It says Siebel Locomotive Workshops, and I couldn't be happier. It runs like a dream too for being 60 years old, more than that. So I absolutely love this little thing. So that's why I had an update. So you'll see it in HL Locomotives in Action 8, because it's only been done for about a month mechanically wise. So this is the first part of the update. Okay, so here we are at the second little portion of this huge update. And this is the brand new custom built Siebel Locomotive Workshop. I did this all myself, and there's a reason behind why it's so freaking huge. It's 2 feet long. Because hang on a second to get the box the original one came in. Okay. See, originally I found this on modeltrainstuff.com, but I didn't get it there. That's where I saw it. So I was looking for a new Siebel Locomotive Workshop, because the other one was a Walters Machine Shop, which is that building right there at the tall stack. You can see it right there, right where I'm pointing. That used to be the old Siebel Locomotive Works, and it was good, but it was only a 1 stall, and I had tracks on the actual floor of the shop to keep my other engines on. But I wanted like a 2 stall so I can have, you know, actual engines going in and out of the shop. So I turned to this, which obviously I knew was it's a fire department repair shop, so I knew it'd be for like fire trucks, so it wouldn't be big enough. But I knew that, you know, with the right amount of remachining and a lot of using a file and whatnot, it would be able to work. And when it first arrived, it was no bigger than the original Siebel Locomotive Works. Sure, it was a 2 stall, but you would only be able to fit my Roundhouse 442 number 605 or both of my 442s, and that would just take up both stalls and you wouldn't have any more room. So it'd be like no different than what the old shop was, so I wasn't going to take that. So what I started doing is I took the roof sheet and the base sheet of plastic. They're huge, you know, big bases, and they're identical. So I had to use the bench grinder and got rid of a groove on the roof sheet and put those 2 together, and that made the base 2 feet long. And then all I was able to do with this first kit was make 1 side wall and do the entire front and back walls. So I had to buy another one of these to be able to finish the second side wall and to be able to have the roof. So that was just pretty much my fun little project. Took about 3 weeks with all this extra stuff I had to do with it, and I love it. I never, in my fondest dreams, thought I'd have a 2 foot long Siebel Locomotive Workshop, and it's better than anything I ever imagined it would be. And it's a lot better knowing that I built it myself. So that was that, but it wasn't going to fit on the old board. That's obviously why you see wood extensions, and that it's because obviously you want to be able to fit properly. So this was one, because we failed so many times at first trying to get the right extension for this back portion. It took us, well, the first 2 pieces we tried. See, on my original layout, the only thing we saved from that board were 2. I think they're basically just they're just 2 huge chunks of it, and they're 2 foot long, and let me see, it was 4 feet wide and 2 foot long each of them. Was it? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to remember this. Yeah, they were just the 2x2s, the 2 foot long by 2 foot long, and that was all I had left from the original layout. But so then I made measurements to cut, because originally the extension was going to be about to like here, if not a little bit further out. It doesn't matter that it's not, but it's just how it was originally supposed to be. Sorry. So, because then we have a bunch of different saws we use, but I think we ended up using like a kind of like a table saw where you just slide it in and the blade will cut it for you. But then we kept going too short 2 times in a row on the both sheets of the old layout that I had. So then we had this one on the bench for no apparent reason, and it didn't bother me, like I said, that this one was shorter than what the original one would be, because it didn't need to be that far out. You just needed to be able to have the shop. So we cut that one down, right, and we had to get extensions from actually, well, the kind of hinges from Home Depot that are underneath here. I would want to show you, but it's gonna probably be a little bit more complex. But you can see one right there. It's kind of an L shape. It goes right here, and it goes underneath to about right here. About right underneath there, it's an L on both sides, and that's what keeps it in place. And it's really strong. It's not going to be going anywhere. And then we have a bunch of like 2x4s and whatnot, just kind of sitting around. So I was able to. Sorry. Okay. We had a bunch of these 2x4s lying around, so we simply just cut this one, and then it just goes about out to there. And that's all it took to get the shop on the layout, but it took a ton of buying more track to be able to fill 2-foot-long stalls. And I will show you the inside of it. Because like on all my kits, I never glue down the roofs. Here's my paradise of engines. Mostly roundhouse. I can start naming a couple of them. This is my all-time favorite. Well, because like I said, the Subaru Locomotive Works is my private fleet of engines. It's my total favorites, the ones I can't live without. And this is my beloved roundhouse 280 David Lee Circus number 3. Just needs a new headlight, and it's good to go. It runs. It's just perfect. This is my beloved as well, because they're all beloved. But this is my St. Louis Southwestern Roundhouse 442 number 605. It's a custom thing I got for Christmas, along with 5 other coaches and an auxiliary tender, and I love it. And this Roundhouse 442 as well. It's this one was a kit. I got this one assembled and all that. These 2 were kits, and I customized this one obviously to be orange. Call it the Great Pumpkin, and I call number 7 the Little Pumpkin. You can see I moved the little number 7 to the front of it. And this is a frame assembly to a rare Gilbert jack shaft switcher, which I'm working on. It's my shop goat. It's my second shop goat. It was the original one for the Subaru Locomotive Works, but then it went down for a mechanical overhaul, and I bought this Roundhouse John Deere Critter EMD 40. It's rare, and that's been the current shop goat. But hang on. This is what the Gilbert one looks like, the shell of it. Almost done with its mechanical overhaul, but this is what the body of it looks like. I can put that there actually. So, in this is a Montua Southern Pacific 040 booster, number 33. And this is the frame to an Athearn CP Rail SD40-2, number 5415. This was one of the first diesels that my family ever owned, and it was probably before I was born. And we've always loved it because it has the beacon light, and it was operational. And for about 6 years or so, this frame has sat, well, definitely more than 6 years. It's been sitting in pieces and missing a lot of stuff, and I've been taking parts off for other engines. Then I decided, because planning on getting a Montua Classics Canadian Pacific 462, so I'm getting a lot of Canadian Pacific stuff while I'm here. Just try to get a nice consist going for it. So decided I'd start rehabilitating this Athearn Blue Box Canadian Pacific, CP Rail SD40-2. It's got all new drive shafts. It's right here. All new drive shafts, a new motor, a new contact plate strip. Replaced a couple of the wheels and cleaned all the wheels really thoroughly, and it runs very well. All I have to do now is just get the beacon light working, which I might have to replace the bulb or just work on the wiring with the circuit board. But it's moving along. That's currently the fleet inside, and number 7 goes back here. It was just out for the decal work and whatnot. And then you got a vast array of parts and all that undergoing. A lot of them are owned by clients I'm working on for stuff like that. A couple of them are mine. And that's just kind of how it goes with this huge new shop. It's better than anything I would have ever imagined building. Okay, now you can see the new Siebel locomotive siding. See, because this lead track right here, like you can just like the track that the the switch is on that gets you the two stalls. That used to be the Siebel Locomotive Works siding. It went to about right there, and then because I had the new setup, I did entirely change the track work for the new shop, and that's what led me. See, I'll just kind of show you how it used to be if you don't remember what it was. It used to be the switch right here that was to the Siebel Locomotive Works. Then you had this switch right here, but it was turned around. So then you had the switch right here, and then you had a curved track to the one stall Siebel Locomotive Works shop, and that's went there. But the other part of the switch went to the siding, and this all connected as a siding. Then like I said, I had to reroute it because I had to make this the Siebel Locomotive Works shop lead tracks. And I'll probably maybe have a couple of pictures because it's kind of confusing. But I had to change all that, and I had to get 2 more packs of ballast just to be able to do all that. And I'm not done. I've got a couple parts left over from the second fire department repair shop kit, such as the front and the back walls. And I'm planning on making a frame and wheel shop for my Siebel Locomotive Works because I specialize in running gear and wheels and all that sorted with that. So I'd like to have my own shop to have wheels and frames and stuff being stored while they're being worked on. So that'll come later. It'll be right here. I'm going to use the remainders. This is the big piece of wood that we cut this extension for. And I've already marked it. We're going to cut it. And I'm going to add another extension here to kind of even it out. So I can put the frame shop right here. I'll probably be removing the section house and the display platform to be able to do that. So that'll come later. It's not very important right now, but that is a plan. The switch track will go probably right here, and then go out there. But it's not a pressing matter at the moment. But yeah, that is the new Siebel Locomotive Works shop, and it's definitely the biggest addition of the layout as of now. Back to the siding, right? Okay, so then I realized I had to reroute the siding, and I have the auxiliary tender siding, which is right there. See, this isn't a third track. It's only a 2-stall shop. It looks like it's a third track, but it's not. The auxiliary tender track ends right there, right in front of the shop. And that's just for auxiliary tenders for number 3 and number 605. So I had to reroute the siding. Found an old brass switch, put it there, nailed it down, and started piece by piece, slowly building the siding. So I'm completely out of rail joiners, and I'm completely out of zap special glue again. I'm out of just out of a lot of things I really need right now. So it's been a slow process building that siding, but it is done now, and it has my Black Widows on it, and I rebuilt that CP rail boxcar because I had the CP rail SD40-2. I'm going to be getting the CP 462 soon. So that's going to be the tool car. It's going to be an excursion engine on the SCVR mainline program, but it's going to be owned by me and my private Siebel Locomotive Works and stored here. It's going to be stored where the SD40-2 frame is, and I'm going to take out the booster for number 33 and move that probably out front of it. No big deal. I'm just trying to get a lot of CP stuff ready for when it arrives. So I rebuilt that boxcar, took some doors off an old lifelike one and had to do a bit of shortening and kind of remachining of it, and I painted the door silver and gave it a new frame and new knuckle couplers, and it is done. It looks good. Also rebuilt the bobber caboose. It used to be a Bachmann Union Pacific yellow bobber caboose, but I wanted it to be for my little 040 number 7. So took the shell off, repainted and the wheels out, repainted the frame, and painted the shell orange. So now it's a new bobber. So a lot of good stuff working now that I've got the shop done, and it's been a pretty good process. And just getting back to working some stuff. Alright, now on to the next portion. Okay, now this one's going to be a bit hard to film because it's kind of hard to get here with a big tripod in the way. But I added, this was probably about maybe a month or 2 ago, I added these new turntable extensions right where the Vanderbilt tender and the chassis 630 is, and where you see the Norfolk and Western tender and the GP20. I added those 2 new turntable extensions. I had to buy new cork and track, and some more ballast, and I added those because I have 18 of 21 turntable stalls filled up of the rail slots. 18 of the 21 turntable slots are filled up, so I can get as much equipment, like out of the way of the line as possible. But that's kind of a simple thing, and just kind of housing some locomotives at this point. Okay, here's another part of this update. You can see this custom kind of, I guess you would say, covered shelter, covered building for our Kansas City Southern 210-2 number 223, because it was sitting outside and it was always getting too dusty and I wasn't operating it a whole lot. And I had this extra support beam from the roundhouse kit. It was an extra one. It was part of this kit, and I had an extra one of it. Whoops! Just fixing the roof there. So I had this extra support, and then I had all these pieces of plastic that were part of, because I didn't build like the little office behind the roundhouse, so I had a bunch of extra plastic portions and pieced together this covered building for number 223. And it was a fun little, I think, about 2 or 3 day project, and it's put to good use, and looks pretty cool to me. It's a good way to keep the dust off her. And here's, if you watch the huge, hour and 25-minute sit down, you can see this is our most recent acquisition. It's a Bachmann Union Pacific 280 number 724. And what really freaked me out is I did not plan this. Well, sorry for the bad kind of lighting, but this entire left to right is all Bachmann engines, even the tender. And the engine behind the tender is a Bachmann Southern 440. And I did not plan to have an entire Bachmann lineup right here. Here's the Bachmann Union Pacific 060, Spectrum, Bachmann Spectrum 210-2, Bachmann 280, Spectrum Climax, Spectrum 060T, original Bachmann line F7, original Bachmann line tender, and then a Spectrum Southern 440, which you cannot see, unfortunately. I guess that was kind of funny. But yeah, that is another part of this update. Now on to the restoration shop. Okay, and the last part of this update is that the original Siebel Locomotive Works was moved and is now the Santa Clarita Valley Railroad Restoration Shop. It's right there, as you can see, and it's a really good thing to have. It's where we store some of our current restoration projects, and it was a really good use of having that. I mean, it's best of both worlds. You get a brand new huge shop and get to put the old one to a good use for the SCVR, so it's pretty much all good with that. I'm pretty sure that is everything I had to update. I'm just going to kind of let you foam over the diesel collection while I look over, see if I missed anything, as usual. Let me see. Nope, I think we're good, and I think that is the entire update, and hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all concerning anything, just comment and I will get back to you really fast. Yeah, they're the new coaches, and I love them. I love the new shop, and just love everything that's been happening. It's been a really prosperous time for everything, Siebel Locomotive Works and the SCVR. So alright, that is this layout update. Thank you guys very much for watching.